Boys and girls, this is a picture of our world. But what is it called? Kai?
A globe.
It is. Class, what is the name of it?
A globe.
And we have learned about the oceans, we've learned about the continents, but if I took this globe and flattened it out, students watching, what picture would that be called? Isaac?
A map.
Yes, a map. But we can learn so many things. In our last lesson in history, we learned that there's a North Pole and a South Pole. We learned about this imaginary line that travels all around the world called the equator. What is it called?
The equator.
And we talked about this whole globe being a sphere. A sphere is a solid round object. Now, if I had just a circle, that's a round shape, isn't it? But this is a solid round object, so it's called a sphere. So if we split it, we have a hemisphere. What is it if it's split?
A hemisphere.
So we have the northern hemisphere between the equator and to the top where the North Pole is, and the southern hemisphere down at the bottom. But listen carefully in this lesson because we're going to hear some other names with hemisphere in them. Now, let's look over here at our map because we have been working so hard with all of our continents and oceans. Let's see, boys and girls, if you remember our song, Everyone Stand Tall, because this is history time. We need to be patriotic. Ready? Asia, Europe, Africa, then down to Antarctica, North and South America, last of all Australia, Pacific Ocean, Indian Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, the Arctic and Southern too. You may be seated, row 2. I enjoyed your singing. Now, we have 7 continents, we have 5 oceans, and in our last lesson, I just barely introduced this shape right here. Now, if you are going camping and you need to know which direction to go, you're going to use a compass. You hold it in your hand. Very similar to this, but this is called a compass rose. What is it called?
A compass rose.
Now, I want you to point to the north, just like it shows you here. So we have the north. Everyone's pointing. Students watching, you too. Now point to the south. Now point to the west. And then the east. Now, when I was your age, I would get the west and east mixed up. So my teacher told me that, of course, this is the United States, our country, inside of North America. And right here on the western coast is California. So I always remembered California is on the west coast, so that direction is west. And that helped me to remember. Now, we've already talked about the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. But if we split our map vertically, we would have the western hemisphere. What side?
The western hemisphere.
Because it's on the west side. And the eastern hemisphere. What's this?
Eastern
Hemisphere. Very good. Now, looking at this map, it would probably be hard to tell which ocean is the largest. So I'm going to tell you, it's the Pacific Ocean. It is the largest ocean in our world. Austin, what's our largest ocean?
Pacific Ocean.
You're a good listener. Now, looking at the map, which continent do you think is the largest? Students watching? Atlas?
Asia.
It is. China is a very large country in Asia, and so that is our largest continent. But I wonder if you can name the continents and oceans without seeing the names on them. So you know what's about to happen. We're having a challenge match between Kai and Taylor. And students watching, what continent is this?
Asia.
And he challenges Alana, Kai and Alana, this one.
Europe.
Oh, she took over with Atlas.
Atlantic.
Are you singing the song? Asia, Europe.
Africa.
There you go. See, singing the song helps you. She needs one more to win. Isabella, can you stop her?
North America.
This one's North America. So what's this, Isabella? Not north, but she needs a friend. Kaysen. Oh, I think
South America.
Oh, he just got it. Well done. He takes over. You have 1 point, sir. Kayla's going to try to stop you this one. Or Layla's going to stop you, excuse me. Ooh, the land down.
Australia.
And she got it. Layla, you challenged Macy. What ocean is this?
Pacific Ocean.
She needs one more to win. Lucas, are you up and ready? What continent is this one?
Antarctica.
You did it, Layla. Give her a microwave. She was working so hard. Now I have a story to tell you, and Macy's ready for story time. Many, many, many years ago, there were people living in the Eastern Hemisphere, and they were curious. They thought, I wonder what it's like on the other side of the world. And one of those curious people had a name, and well, they all did, but his name was Christopher Columbus. And in 1492, he sailed the ocean blue. And he was looking for a new place. But where he was going is not where he ended up, because God directed him to a different location, and he ended up discovering the New World. And the New World was over here on the Western Hemisphere. Now, people started studying and wondering, I wonder if anyone lives over there. Well, the very first people who were living there in North America on the Western Hemisphere were called Native Americans. What were they called?
Native Americans.
And we are going to learn about them today. So here you see a picture just of the Western Hemisphere where Christopher Columbus and many other people wanted to go to discover new places. So we're going to narrow it down and talk about where the United States is today as we start a new chapter called Early America. Now, this is a picture just of the United States of America inside of North America. You can see there are two countries attached to us, if you want to think of it that way. Canada is to the north of us, so what country?
Canada.
And Mexico is to the south. What country?
Mexico.
And the United States, we are our own country right there in the middle. Now, you see that I have divided it into 4 sections. So we already know that this is the eastern side of the United States, and this is north and this is south. So this section up here is called northeast. What is it?
Northeast.
Because it's to the north and it's on the east side. Makes sense? Now down here we have the southeast. What is that?
Southeast.
Now we're going to talk about the other 2 sections in another lesson, but I wanted to tell you about the Native Americans that lived in the Northeast. They were farmers, and they were hard workers, and they also hunted for their food. So farmers and hunters. Now their homes were a little bit different. Their homes were called wigwams. What's the word?
Wigwam.
And their homes were kind of dome-shaped. I'll show you a picture in a minute. Dome-shaped, but they also had other homes called long houses because it was long. It was made similar to the wigwams, but they were stretched out and long. But these Native Americans who lived in the southeast, their homes were a little bit different, had no walls, a roof and a floor, and their homes had an interesting name. And when we hear unusual names, Austin, we are respectful, aren't we? Their homes were called chickees. What were they called?
Chickees.
Very good. Now I want to show you some amazing pictures. This is a picture of a typical Native American. And remember, they were here first. They lived in North America where United States is today, and this is a typical what a Native American would look like. Of course, he has his bow and arrow, which he would use to hunt with. Let's look at another picture. This is a picture of a wigwam, like the Northeast Native Americans lived in. You can see I said it was dome-shaped, just like that. They have the entrance right here. Homemade things that they have made, like pottery and blankets. Let's look at another one. Now, this is a picture of the Chickee homes, the ones in southeast part of the United States as it is today. So you can see they're raised up. Some of them had walls, some of them didn't. See how this one's open like this? So those were their homes that they made. And we get to read about the Native Americans, and we get to see some more pictures. So open your history book to page 12, everyone. And I'm going to call up my readers to come because I have a special surprise for you at the end of history today. So page 12, and I'd like for Atlas and Journey, Sahana, Alana, Taylor, Eloise, and Austin to come to your places to read for us. And Atlas, we're going to let you start first. We're going to read all those vocabulary words together. Everyone, continents, eventually, explorers, discovered. Begin, sir.
Long ago, half of the world did not even know about America. Most people lived on the other side of the world. Our world has 7 large
Short A.
masses of land called continents.
Very good. And we've already looked at our map, so yes, we do know where North America and South America are. Journey, continue on the next page.
Our home is the United States of America. Can you be found in North America? But the people living on the other side of the world did not know about the Americans.
Eventually,
Eventually,
explorers
across the ocean and discovered what must have felt like a whole new world. In fact, that it what they're called it the new world.
Thank you. You may walk to your seat. Now look at the picture before you turn. This is a picture. You see the statue? That's a statue that's been erected of Christopher Columbus. And he traveled in 3 ships with some other people, sailors, and the ships were called the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. And so he traveled and he discovered the New World. So let's continue on the next page with Native Americans. Alana?
Before the New World was discovered, there were people living all across America. Who were these first Americans? If you guessed...
Well, read what's there. If you guessed... Native. Americans. And then finish the sentence. You are
right.
Thank you. And you may have a seat. Sahana. Start with the next paragraph. Because
the word native means of an original home. One way to describe the people who lived in America first is Native Americans. America was always been their home.
Yes, because they were here first. Taylor, continue.
Native American tribes had their own languages. Many had their own special way of building homes and providing food for their people. Let's learn more about their life in America.
Ooh, I liked your quick reading. Continue, Eloise. The Northeast. Down at the bottom.
The Native Americans.
Oh, speak real loud for us.
The Native Americans of the Northern were farmers. They planted crops of corn, beans, squash, and pumpkins. they were also good hunters. They used bows, bows and arrows to hunt for deer and wild turkeys.
Thank you. You may have a seat. As Austin steps up, I also need Taylor, Alana, Lucas, and Atlas to come to your spot. Stand right in front of the mic for us, right over here. And we're starting right there. There you go.
Many of them lived in wigwams or longhouses.
Word you just did.
Wigwams.
Wigwams.
Wigwams were rounded.
Were rounded.
Were rounded wooden
Buildings.
building covered with bark or woven mat.
Thank you. Continue for us, Atlas.
Longhouses were built like wigwams, but they were much longer. They might be 100 feet long. Several families might live in a longhouse.
Thank you. Continue, Taylor.
These were the Native Americans that the Pilgrims knew.
You may start the next part.
The Southeast. In the Southeast, some Americans lived in buildings with thatched roofs, open sides, and a raised floor.
Thank you. Continue for us, Alana.
These houses were called
That's it.
chickens.
Chickies. Mhm.
Chickies. Other tribes
Mhm.
lived in a small house like a long cabin covered with bark and mud.
All right, thank you. Rest your books for just a minute. Lucas, you can go ahead and sit down. We'll have you come up next time. Now, you can see from the picture the difference in the homes, can't you? I mean, the chickies were all open on the sides. Most of them were. Now, turn to the next page. I wanted to show you something special we get to make. And I'm going to show you how to do it. And students watching, your on-site teacher has the supplies for you. This is a Native American mat, almost like a blanket that they would make. So you're going to have a piece of paper like this that has strips all cut out. I'm going to put it up here so I can show you exactly how to do it. And again, students watching, your on-site teacher will be able to help you as well. So you can close your books, boys and girls, and you can start doing it with me. So, nice quiet books, just right there on your desk is fine. All right? Now, you have all of these strips. Students watching, you see that? Now, you're going to take the extra single strips and you're going to weave it in and out like the Native Americans did. So, basically, I'm going to go under the first one, over the second one, under the third one, over the fourth one, under the fifth one, I'm using my ordinal numbers, and on top of the last one. And then I'm scooting it all the way up as far as it will go until it can't go any farther. All right? So I just did over, under, over, under. See how you do that? You just got to go in and out, in and out. Now, the next strip, you're going to do the opposite. So, right here on the left-hand side, I started under. Now I'm going to go on top. So I got to go on top of that one, then under, over, under, over, and under. And again, then scoot it up as far as it will go. So I did the opposite. So your colors are going to alternate. So then you would do the next strip like you did the first one. You would do it opposite and you would start under, like that. So I'm going to go get one and show you exactly what it looks like when you're all finished. So you keep trying that. Let me go get one right here. All right, so let me show you. When you're all finished doing your weaving, it might look like this. Doesn't that look neat? It's like a little Native American mat. Or if you got a smaller one, it might look like this. And then students watching, your on-site teacher can tape the edges for you, and then you will have your very own Native American mat. Enjoy making it.